Let's roll. Winter Game Central has begun. I am Gabe Morency, SportsGrid Television Network. Let's do this thing as the Olympic Games. Just a couple of more days remaining of competition. Pretty much winding down, but we are into the Final Fours in various different sports. And it was another insane day of action on the ice and all types of ice today. And I'll tell you what, the U.S. have had a great Winter Games and have exceeded expectations so far. Now, winning the women's gold medal in women's hockey is not a surprise, right? They were like, minus 500 favorites today in this game. So that's not a surprise that they won, but the success that they're having, the women's win the gold medal. Alyssa Liu wins the gold medal, women's figure skating. The women's curling team has qualified into the semifinals. Like it's been a red hot week for Team USA in a Winter Game. So let's start off with the women's hockey game today. Listen, a hockey game that was a lot closer than anybody thought it was going to be, and including I think the players on Team Canada who, thought that, they would have a chance of winning, but privately would say, yeah, listen, we're the big underdogs in this game. We talked about it last night. We set the table. We've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, but Team USA had beaten the Canadian women 7 straight times. They just played 4 games in what they call the rivalry series leading up to the Olympics, where they take it it's not like exhibition. They take it seriously. And the USA outscored them 24-7 in the 4 games. Then they beat them. They beat them in the World Championships 4-3. They beat them 5-0 earlier in these Olympic Games. So you figure, all right, the USA are just going to roll them in a gold medal game. But Canada showed up today and threw the kitchen sink at the U.S. and had a 1-0 lead with like 2 minutes remaining in the game. It seemed as though Canada was going to pull off the improbable. And it's crazy because Canada's never been an underdog before in one of these games. But the U.S. is now better than they are. Yeah, Canada nearly pulled off the upset. And there's a lesson to be learned here. Anybody who's paying attention to the hockey in the Olympics, men's and or women's, Switzerland won the bronze medal today. Sweden were the favorites. Now, listen, we've had fun doing the Olympic show for the last 2 weeks and talking about the games from a betting perspective. There's so much going on, and nobody tracks this, right? You're going to track NBA ATS records, right? And you know what? Over-unders and stuff. But I'll tell you what. Underdog bettors or sort of like, long shots and stuff have absolutely killed it in these Olympic Games. One favorite after another has not won. And I know because I've been on a lot of them. All right, Sakamoto, the women's figure skating, Kaori Sakamoto from Japan. She was the favorite. She's pretty much flawless technically, and she was going to win the gold medal, but Alyssa Liu comes out of nowhere, and we talked about it last night a little bit. So Alyssa Liu was the only woman to beat Sakamoto in the last couple of major championship type deals. Except, Alyssa Liu, of course, retired from the sport and has come back. She got burnt out early, it's a vicious sport, figure skating. She comes back. We talked about her last night, and I almost had buyer's remorse on Sakamoto. I was like, man, this Alyssa Liu girl, I didn't realize, she's almost like a punk rocker on skates or something. She doesn't care about failure. And anybody that watches figure skating, you watch this sport, man, that's a ruthless sport. It was going on today when the women's championship was going on. The music is so dramatic, and the judges, and they're sitting there waiting for the results, and they're all sitting together. It's over the top drama, the figure skating, and the skating is sick. But I'll tell you what, Alyssa Liu's routine today was literally the best by far of the day. It was one of those, when I saw her do it, I was like, oh, I should have bet on her. If you recall, if you tuned into the show last night, I said I think she's going to win the bronze medal. I said, yeah, I think she'll win bronze. I don't think the thing is, like the Sakamoto like was ahead. She had like the better week than everybody. Like Amber Glenn fell earlier in the week. It was like a disaster. What, she finished in 13th or whatever? I think she finished in 13th place earlier in the week in one of the nights. But there's a couple of nights that they do, and she was so good today too. She catapulted all the way to first place. A lot of people like figure skating, you're in the lead and stuff, but there's a lot of not choking, but the fine line of success in that sport is insane. It's like, like she didn't land perfectly and her skate is sideways here, right? Like the technical judging of that sport is ruthless, but super entertaining to watch. And as I stated, it was a big day on the ice today. We had the women's gold medal game, which a lot of like heavyweights showed up at. Tom Brady was there, Billie Jean King, Kelsey, and everybody was at the game today. And Canada nearly pulled off the upset. And now the stakes are raised for the men's, right? Canada are in a weird spot when it comes to this hockey, in which people in the USA, there are hockey fans, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're of NHL teams and stuff. I'm not saying that, nobody's a fan, but as a whole, nobody cares if the USA women's team lost today. The women's team for Canada are now a bunch of losers because they lost in the gold medal game. Like, the pressure, like, the USA men have nothing to lose, really. Right? It's like, all right, we beat Canada and we're going to be heroes. If we don't, it's like, all right, nobody really cares that much. Right? If you're Canada, it's like the end of the world pressure on you, like a figure skater, kind of. Like, the stakes are super high. And I tell you what, you can say that the stakes are like, that the Finns are playing with house money, but they're really not. The Finns see that, hey, we're one win away from a gold medal right now. And we'll get into USA and Slovakia on the other side, which Slovakia are not going to be the pushover that everybody thinks they are. They won their group. They're a dangerous team. They won the bronze medal in the last Winter Games in men's hockey, right? And they literally are playing with house money, this team, right? Unless I think the USA are going to be too much for them. Curling. So listen, curling turned into one of the big stories of the week, and it's almost kind of getting annoying now with the memes and the gifs of the Canadian dude touching the rock, right? We get it. He touched the rock. But it inspired them. It's one of these, like, the Team Canada's curling team knows everybody hates them and stuff, and they've made it all the way to the final. So it's real. Like, this stuff, we're down to the Final Four with the women's. We're to the final with the men. So we'll get you caught up to date with the numbers and the odds and the events that are still coming up left. Like I said, we still have the relay speed skating, which sort of like the summer games with the track and field is one of the major events, right? Europeans love speed skating. It's a big deal and stuff. We've got a pick for the final speed skating. We're into the men's mass start final of the biathlon. Lot of final events coming up, so we'll have some picks for you. We have an update as far as that dog is concerned. The dog is back home. You say if you saw the skiing, the wolf dog like jumped on the track, became international and stuff. It's been on the news all over the place, and the dog is safely back home right now. That great picture. There's like a video of the dog at home. It looks like any other dog just passed out on a bed, looking all tired and stuff. It's like, dog doesn't know that it's like been seen by billions of people over the last couple of days. And turns out this dog just takes off all the time, right? It's got like its tags and stuff. And like in Europe, there's like dogs on the street everywhere, right? Pretty much. But this is a domesticated dog, but they said that it got a mind of its own and the dog takes off a lot. And I don't know how the hell the dog ended up in the middle of an Olympic live event, but like okay, I don't understand like how, okay, so the dog jumps the fence or whatever, you're living on a farm, they're living in like open space. How does the dog end up at the Olympics? Like how does the dog get through security, basically? You know what I mean? Like did someone say, hey, like there's a dog here? Or like.
seems like, Dan, this is going to be a year where we're going to really find out if prediction markets are going to kind of work beyond what we currently know. Because while they are expanding and other companies are certainly getting into it, we're getting finally more pushback from states all across the country, and in particular, Nevada, Massachusetts, seemingly are trying to lead the forefront.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central. Only on SportsGrid.
George, Rutschman is an interesting one here. I mean, this was somebody that we were told was going to be a superstar. I feel like we've done this now with back-to-back young catchers on Baltimore that they've taken. They've taken Matt Wieters. Remember when they took him super high and everyone thought he was the second coming? Then they took Adley Rutschman. I guess the good news is they have Sam Basallo, who's supposed to be fantastic too, but can't whiff on 3 like that, can you?
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
All right, and then there were 4. We're down to the Final 4 in men's hockey, and it's not the full Final 4 that people thought it was going to be. Now, listen, I don't think people are shocked because Finland are there. Basically, people expect Canada, the USA, and then, Sweden, Finland, essentially. Like, those are sort of, when you think of hockey countries, and, I should throw Russia into the mix, but Russia are not allowed in the games right now, but that's another story. And, Russia would have been dangerous. Like, you can't dismiss them. Russia would probably still be playing right now, right? They haven't had a lot of success over the years with NHL players in the Olympics, the Russians, right? They're temperamental. They haven't been on the same page. A big thing, the difference there is, like, before, in the past, Russia, had a lot of snipers and, really good goal scorers, but they didn't have, a ton of defensemen, and they didn't have, good goalies in the NHL. There was, Russia, there was, a Russian goalie that never won. Russian goalies, that was always sort of their weakness in the past. When Russia was, a dominant team and stuff in international play, they had Tretiak, who was no weakness, trust me. He's one of the greatest goalies ever, Tretiak. But, besides Tretiak, you know what I mean? Besides the Tretiak era and stuff, they never really had, so with NHL, Russia used to dominate the Winter Games. That's what made the Miracle on Ice such a big deal in 1980 when the USA beat them. They literally won all the time. They just won. They won. They own international hockey, but their players weren't allowed in the Olympics. So they were basically pro caliber players playing against college and other guys and stuff. So they dominated. But when it went to the NHL in the Olympics, the Russians haven't had success. They won one of the gold medals in the Olympics without Olympic players, right? So it's not like they're terrible or anything like that, but I got to admit now, they've got goalies now. They're bigger, they're better. Russia would have been a load to deal with in this tournament. We're not going to put an asterisk next to it. Right? Who wins this? You won the tournament, you won the tournament. I don't really believe in asterisks, right? Everybody's playing with the same thing, but, it's not full. We are missing a team here. I think missing Russia and figure skating is a bigger deal. You notice Japan took over, and Alyssa Liu, whose father's from China, she's from the Bay Area now, but, Japan is taking over, and I couldn't help but think, I'm there's no Russian girls here, right? This is why Japan is, all over the podium here suddenly. So this stuff really kind of does matter. But, Finland are kind of always the bridesmaids in this stuff. The Finns are really good. Like, Finnish players in the NHL are solid. They got a couple of star players, but Finnish hockey is really good. It's like rock solid, but they lack like the final sort of piece to put them over the top. I find that Finland has more heart than Sweden. But I like Sweden. I thought Sweden was going to get on the podium, but I talked a lot about like the temperamental, like the mentality of their team and stuff. Like you saw Sweden yesterday, they they're skating, they're passing, they're kind of coasting around, and they're playing hockey. But like, it's like they don't go that extra little step to like win the loose puck battle. Like, it always seems like the other team wants it a little bit more when you watch Sweden play, and then and Sweden was like desperate in the last 5 minutes, and they tied the game. Right? They got into it and they tied the game. But like, the Finns play sort of more determined. The Finns are dirtier than the Swedes too. Like, but this is where I'm going with this is not a good matchup for Finland against Canada. I know people are going to think, oh, well, you would have saw Czech Republic and this, and they gave Canada all they can handle playing defense. And yeah, you know what? Canada kind of dominated the Czech Republic, right? Dostal, the goalie of the Anaheim Ducks, just was awesome. And Saros is good. Saros is hit or miss, right? I'm not a big Saros guy. Nashville Predator goalie. When he's on though, but he's very hit or miss. He's smaller. I think Team Canada are going to get to him. And the thing is with the Finns sort of play like Canadian style hockey. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Canadian textbook, like 101 hockey book type thing. Yeah, we're going to forecheck. We're going to, bang you against the boards. We're not going to give you any space. Like, the Finns play really fundamental sound hockey. Yet, it's sort of like you see this in college sports a lot where it's like, you do the same thing. You do the same thing that your opponent does, but you don't have the talent that the other team does. I just sort of think like Finland, they're going to work their ass off and stuff, but these games are close. And I kept kind of going back to like 4-2 Canada here. I'm like, I do believe Canada's going to win. And I've had like my reservations and fear. I do think that the USA game could be a real problem for Canada suddenly, right? The USA are flying around right now. Canada have lost Sidney Crosby. But, part of me keeps coming back to like Canada beats Finland 4-2. Total is 5.5, yet it is going to be a slugfest. Right, like this is going to be a defensive grind this game against the Finns. So the total's 5.5. I can understand not loving, you bet that I don't think it's going to get to 7 or 8. So if it gets to over 5.5, it'll be because it gets to 6 with an empty net goal or something. But I do think Canada are going to beat Finland. Now, as far as USA and Slovakia is concerned, let's tip our cap to the Slovakians, man. Right, they won a bronze medal in the Olympics 4 years ago. They finished in 3rd place. They actually beat the U.S. There wasn't NHL players there, but Slafkovsky was there, and it's kind of what made him into the #1 pick in the NHL draft. And he's turned the corner. He's really becoming a big-time power forward. He's a big dude, this dude, for the Montreal Canadiens. He's having a good year, and it's carried over. He's one of these dudes that, like, you see it in basketball sometimes, right? Like, Dennis Schroeder's a good example. like Dennis Schroeder in the NBA is Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder on Germany in international play, he starts scoring 37 points and stuff. I'm telling you, it's like he puts a cape on. Jordan Bennington, the Team Canada. The St. Louis Blues, man, this guy couldn't stop a drunk guy at intermission during a contest. When he's, you know what I mean? Like his goals, like he's terrible with the St. Louis Blues. He really is. And you put him on Team Canada, you put a red jersey on this guy, and he turns into like Clark Kent and Ken Dryden combined. Say, hey, look at me, I'm Superman. I'm going to stop everything. Right? It's bizarre world. International play does, different things for different people. And the Slovakians really like dig in, man. And it's not like, oh yeah, I know a lot of Americans are probably thinking, Slovakia, you look, we're minus 850 favorites. Dude, they just won.
seems like, Dan, this is going to be a year where we're going to really find out if prediction markets are going to kind of work beyond what we currently know. Because while they are expanding and other companies are certainly getting into it, we're getting finally more pushback from states all across the country, and in particular, Nevada, Massachusetts, seemingly are trying to lead the forefront.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The level of hockey is being played. Like, if you're not really into the NHL, you should watch this and you will enjoy it. Like, it's a different level of hockey. Like, the NHL, basically, there's like 6 really good guys on each team. And in the Olympics, like, every guy is good. Like, it's next level. It's something to behold.
Winter Games Central. Only on SportsGrid.
George Rutschman is an interesting one here. I mean, this was somebody that we were told was going to be a superstar. I feel like we've done this now with back-to-back young catchers on Baltimore that they've taken. They've taken Matt Wieters. Remember when they took him super high and everyone thought he was the second coming? Then they took Adley Rutschman. I guess the good news is they have Sam Basallo, who's supposed to be fantastic too, but can't whiff on 3 like that, can you?
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Man, this Winter Game Central always flies by. And here we are right now. So shout out to our crew that put the shows together behind the scenes. Great graphics along the way. So we appreciate it. Great job. Hopefully people enjoyed our Olympic coverage. You know, basically not a lot of people like these other sports are going to talk and give you picks for these other sports and stuff. So we wanted to have a show dedicated to this. So we've had a great time doing it. We're not on tomorrow night, programming alert. We've got the Women's Mexican Soccer League on tomorrow night. Liga MX Women. And MLS is back this weekend as well, don't forget. So, man, the sports calendar, we got the WBC around the corner as well. But, you know, it's sort of good news, bad news. Good news is we still have a couple of more days of the Olympics and into the gold medal hockey game on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. 8 a.m. Eastern time, just for the record, if you're unaware, that's when the gold medal game is. 8:10 to be exact. 5:10 Pacific time. There's been a lot of talk about that. But there's still you know, a lot of action to go in between then. But on the other side of it, I'm going to be sad that all this stuff is over. The Olympics are always an adrenaline rush, or the World Cup, or WBCs and stuff like that. They're more exciting to me than these regular season games, and unless it's the playoffs. You know what I mean? Playoffs are cool in these sports, but on the other side of it, man, I've been getting up at weird times. I already sleep weirdly as it is, so now this has really been like. And once again, Canada play Finland at like 7:30 in the morning if you're on the West Coast. So let's start off there since that's the first game up. Canada and Finland. As I stated, hell of a run by Finland. Finland, and it's funny, I should have just bet for Finland to win a bronze medal before the tournament started. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself because Canada hasn't won a game yet, but I've been saying this for years. Anytime there's an international tournament, it's always like Finland with the bronze. Like, they're just the kings of this. Like, they're not quite, you know what I mean? They're right there. Like, they always win a bronze, but I think they're going to fall short against Team Canada, and they're going to play the bronze medal game after. Canada's up to, like, people are steamrolling the favorites all the time. So Canada's up to, like, minus 500 at some books right now. It's minus 2.5 on the goal line everywhere on the puck line right now. Let's go alt line at 1.5. All right. There were 1.5s originally, but you got to lay 70 cents to do it. But that's how we're going to approach this. Canada, minus 1.5, minus 170. I'll post picks online too, but another good way to approach this will be Canada to win in a same game parlay with the total. like under 6.5. The total's 5.5, but it'll be like, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2. So that's another way of approaching it. USA and Slovakia. This is going to be an entertaining game, this game. Slovakia are very offensive minded. Like I said, they're not, sometimes you think, an underdog team, like they're going to try to, sit in the shell or whatnot. No. Slovakia are going to try to score. Like, Slovakia will try to get a lead and then kind of shut it down. But I'm expecting goals in the first period of this game. Either I kind of have a weird feeling Slovakia kind of scores a quick early one and everyone's like, oh, wow. And then the USA score a couple of ones after. Like, I like the over 1.5 in the first period in this game. I'd be really surprised if there's not more than 2 goals in the first period of USA and Slovakia. The total is 5.5 in USA Slovakia, and I don't really fully get it. The USA are hard to stop. Like, don't be fooled by what Sweden did. Like, Sweden are good at that. Sweden beat the US in the Four Nations last year 2-1. Every game is different. It's like in football and basketball. Styles make fights, guys, right? And this stylistically is not a low-scoring game. Yeah, the USA have been responsible defensively and stuff, but the USA tee up these shots. They score these flash-type goals. They're good, like snipers, the U.S. players. I'm going over 5.5 with the USA and Slovakia. Women's curling. So Canada have made it to the semifinals of women's curling. They haven't been under the microscope. They got tagged once for a violation, but they're not the only ones type thing. So the Canadian women aren't the big villains that the Canadian men are. But the Canadian women are taking on the Swedish women in the Final Four, semifinals of curling. Sweden, I thought Sweden, the Swedish women had a good chance of winning this thing before it started. And I think they're going to knock Canada off here. It was a hell of a run for Canada, the women, but they barely got in here in the last second in the back door to get into the semifinals and into the playoffs. Nice run. Canada probably escapes with a medal. And I think we're going to end up with a Canada-USA bronze medal curling game. So let's go with Sweden to beat Canada in women's curling at 8:05 a.m. Eastern time. Semifinals to go to the gold medal match. And USA women's curling have never made it this far before. So a hell of a run for them on the ice as well. But they're screwed. They're going to lose to the Swiss. The Swiss women are next level. All right? They're going to lose to the Swiss. If there's a lock on the board, I would say, you know what? The Swiss women beat the USA women in curling, but a lot of locks haven't come through this week. They're minus 225 on the money line. Play 1.5 rocks. I say they win by minus 138. Other than that, you're on your own.
One check, one stroke of a pen, $43 million that you now have to spend in free agency. Ain't it fun?
Yeah, you take the money out of the left pocket, you put it in the right pocket, basically, Donnie. But you also free up the ability to be able to sign other players. Nobody did this better than the Patriots and Tom Brady in his career, right?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
The expectations were big for this team coming into this season. They've struggled to live up to them. When you think about the 4 losses for Purdue, they've really felt ugly. Iowa State smashed this team in their building. They dropped the game to UCLA and followed it up by losing at home to Illinois.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Not only do you have we don't know we're going to play an arbitration for our top pitcher in school ball. He gets the $30 million. You go and get Valdez, who's 32 years old, and you pay 3 years, $115. Now you have a legitimate 1-2 punch and still have Flaherty in that lineup as well. If you're looking at a move singularly that I didn't expect to happen here and loved it, Detroit's move to get Framber Valdez, sensational for me.
Pro Baseball Today. Only on SportsGrid.
George Rutschman is an interesting one here. I mean, this was somebody that we were told was going to be a superstar. I feel like we've done this now with back-to-back young catchers on Baltimore that they've taken. They've taken Matt Wieters. Remember when they took him super high and everyone thought he was the second coming? Then they took Adley Rutschman. I guess the good news is they have Sam Basallo, who's supposed to be fantastic too, but can't whiff on 3 like that, can you?
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.